Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast. Feels weird doing this on a Thursday night. We obviously did push our Supercoach show back one night. Viewers had a few things on last night, so good to get out and socialise a bit. But I miss the boys. I miss chatting Supercoach. Miss just basically sitting in, listening like a spectator live on air while these two give you all their wonderful wisdom and knowledge that is the Supercoach game. And how good. It's a special week. It is Vegas time. We obviously had our first live show of the year. So a big thank you to everyone that tuned in for that. It was a great show. Only going to get bigger and better, I think, from here on in when everyone knows about it a bit more and things like that. But for those, the OGs that tuned in, those that was their first time on Tuesday night, I really do appreciate it. We pumped up. We brought some energy. Trav had some glasses and stuff on. He was in Vegas. He was just repping it. He's come back now. He's come back to reality. Vegas
arrived back
him up,
this morning.
had him out.
Yeah, just arrived back this morning. It's a long flight. I'm jet lagged, but it's all good.
He didn't go there for the footy. He just went there to just pump up for Vegas week. Got out before all the shenanigans full on started. So we're bringing you the Supercoach show tonight. We're going to talk all things team list Tuesday. So that was the Vegas teams, the 4 teams there. Then we're going to do the big one, the big reveal of all 3 of our teams. We'll have them up on the screen. So again, another great episode for the YouTube watchers to make sure you're on and you'll be able to see a visual of our teams. Just to go over again what happens after this. So everyone will get the podcast. I know what we do. We'll put our teams up as well in that nice little graph post that we made. You've probably all forgotten about it now, but we did have our original first teams up on that. So we'll do that each week. But any changes after this podcast will be exclusive to our Legends group on Facebook. So again, $2.99 a month. You'll get all the exclusive content, all the Supercoach stuff. You'll know every single change that we make and why we do so on a basically a second-to-second basis before get all the late mail news, things like that, our captaincies, our vice-captaincies, if there's a loop, things like that, all that details will be in that group. So the best time to get involved now and get your exclusive content there and your money's worth. $2.99, cheap as chips, as we keep saying. Shout out to all those members there. Absolutely love and appreciate that additional support. Definitely goes a long way of helping support the page, which we greatly appreciate. But boys, we're about to jump into the 10 list. Before we do, let's do a little bit of a check-in. Jesse, now you were busy last night. Did you have a nice feed?
I did actually. Yeah, it was really good. Down in the bay, the old cat club. Had myself a Scotch fillet. Nice and rare. Chips and salad.
Brings back some memories.
Oh,
that brings back some memories.
Yeah, I love it. Always good there, man. Always a good feed. And the kangaroos bloody everywhere too. It's insane.
Yeah.
Just in the course.
It's a big blast here, guys, because me and Jesse obviously met each other through just the grapevine of Supercoach, one of those big chats, I think it was. And then little do I know, he now works down at the Bay, and I grew up down in that area, sort of went to high school, my whole high school life, down in Maria High School. Shout out to anyone out there that was either there at Maria or things like that. So it's funny, he keeps bringing up all these places whenever we have a bit of a chat, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember there, I remember that, I remember this and that. So it always just gives me a bit of a blast back in the high school life and how it was. So shout out to anyone that is listening still. If we went to school, shout out. Give us a message. Let me know who is listening and supporting the page. It'd be good to know that. But Trav, how are you, mate? You're the lone survivor last. We almost said to you can jump on and just get the podcast out of the way by yourself if you wanted to, but you needed you wanted us to come back. You're like, nah, I'm on the flight back from Vegas. I better not do it on board. I'll do it when we get back.
Yeah, I needed a legit rest, man. It was tough going. I was out there repping LOI sign, sorry.
LOA.
LOA, yeah. LOI sign going around, had the neons going. Yeah, fuck, it was awesome. Yep, loved it. What a good experience. But I'm back. I'm ready for the boys. I made it back just solely for this. I knew this was on. I had to change my flights. I was supposed to fly back in Sunday night. Yeah, I was supposed to fly in Sunday night, but no, I changed my flights to get here for this. I made you guys change 24 hours later, so I thought, no, I can't stuff you around.
It's 23 for me, so that's all right.
23.
How was your live show experience, Trav? Yeah, I've done a few before, but our first one of the year was a big one.
Yeah, it was. It was a big one. No, I'm not going to lie. I turned up to that one a bit nervous. I sat there for most of the day. I was at work. I think even my kids in my class were like, "Mr. Hewish, you're a bit different. You're feeling a bit you look a bit different. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, it's I can sit in the back of my head thinking, oh my gosh. But
pressure's on.
She's all good. It was fun. It was great. I loved the chat. There was heaps of people chatting, which was great. And I'm seeing a few sort of comments and things like that coming through after it. So yeah, it was awesome. Highly recommend everyone get around it, get in the chat. That's what makes it even more fun. Is just everyone having a chat and turning it away from the agenda to what you guys want.
Again, it's so important if you do want to be part of it. There's been a lot of people watching it since I've looked at the numbers, and there's been heaps. But just to be on that live show, it's really appreciated. It's great to just communicate with you guys live on air. Make sure you put in your calendars or hit that follow or subscribe button on YouTube so you're able to get all of our content there, and you can chime in for the live shows. That's the best part, like Trav said. But let's get into it. We've got the first game for the NRL point of view is the Raiders versus the Warriors. So I'll basically go through each team. As I'm going through, like the Raiders, for instance, the boys will just stop me whenever there's a Supercoach relevancy point. We'll have a bit of a chat and we'll just keep going through. So sort of take our time in a way, go through a bit of detail, why, and things like that, like we always do, and like what you guys love from us and what we produce. So don't expect us to rush through these team lists. We'll do it and do it properly for you guys. So for the Raiders, Kyo Weeks at fullback. I feel like we're going to be stopping straight away because he's been put in a number of teams. He was briefly in my team as well.
Yeah, he was in my team for a little bit as well. I think it kind of changed a little bit when we get to the team reveals. You see where my 5'8" actually would be because, man, he had a good trial. He had a really good trial. And I suppose when you're kind of looking at the time for these like value 5'8s or who can partner Metcalf essentially because everyone's kind of got him. I think he kind of staked his claim a little bit. You know, he stamped his authority as a 5'8 option. And I haven't got him, but I don't mind the pick. It's just I kind of want to wait on these Vegas teams. I want to see what next week looks like. So I'm a bit hesitant to throw guys in. But yeah, I don't mind it. I genuinely don't. I think there's he's obviously had a good trial, trained well. We'll have to see what his upside is as a fullback at 5'8. It's a very appealing position. But I really don't mind it at all. Good price too.
Trav, I think we were all in him, weren't we, for a while?
I had him right up until yesterday when I sent you my team so that we could post it for today. So I've had him for a couple of weeks. I even put in our Legends group that I had him. So I was very, very keen. The only reason why I changed off him was I needed to find 40K to upgrade one of my centers to get Mazu. So I just needed a little change. There's every chance and every opportunity that between now and Sunday, Weeks is back in my team in the 5'8. And actually, I think I sent to both of you boys, I am finding my way to get a bit of money so I can get back to Kyo Weeks. I think I said that in the group chat. So yeah, I do want him. I'm very high on him. He's a fullback playing with a 5'8 tag and going to be the fullback at Canberra. I think that's just nuts. I think he's ready to go bonkers for us. The worst case scenario, he averages just over 60, which is not a bad thing. He goes up in price and I push him to someone else quickly. Like it's, I don't have a problem. And if he doesn't work out and you've got him, you're more than likely you've got Metcalf. So if Weeks doesn't work out, Metcalf has been and is, you drop him down. Like you go down to say a Dewey or you find a few extra dollars and go up to a Dearden or like he's in that really nice price that whether it works out or not, you either can go up or go down. So I just think he's a no-brainer if you can afford him.
Pretty sideways as well to Brimson. I think they're almost identical price tags now that he's a 5'8 too. So there's options. There's definitely options, but I like the pick.
Yes, no, very much indeed. And shout out to those late, what was it? The jewels that came into play. I think it was yesterday. It was announced. So a couple of nice, juicy prospects there for sure. We might talk about them after these teams. Actually,
Spelled D-U-A-L.
Yeah. We picked up on that way too late there, guys. You know what's funny? Everyone's always quick to jump on and let us know whenever there is a mistake. I love it. So that's actually a good thing. It shows they are reading and taking notes. So I love it. It's just so fun. As soon as something happens, I know what's going to happen straight away. So on the for the back line, we've got Tamale and Savage on the wings and Matty Tomoko and Sebastian Chris in the centers. I think the only one to talk about here is obviously Tamale, and I think it's just I personally am not going there just because I feel like it's Hopewadi's jersey and just because of his baby, he's not there at Vegas. But I reckon he'll probably be straight back in that lineup for it come round 2. So I just think it's to be very, very careful with this one. I think it's a 1 week play for now. And yeah, don't waste a trade this early on.
Pretty much. Hey, I was keen on him quite early on because I thought there was a good chance that he might actually get himself into the lineup. But look at the team as it is. Like, that's basically how it's going to run out. The promising thing about the Tamale play, if you are going to go about it, is obviously you get him this week. He's going to be the first player in if there's an injury in that back line, which, is going to force you back into back into the side again. So I think if you did just want to plug him and just put him there, get a week out of him, you might not see him for a month, potentially longer, whatever comes on. But I think if there is an injury again or something happens, he'll be straight back in. So it's not the end of times. But yeah, I think we've got enough cheapy center wings at the moment that are going to probably play consistently that I don't really want to have just a brick for an indefinite period of time. So yeah, it's a 1 week play. It's very appealing because it's Vegas and it's the first game and he's green ticked already. And you're like, oh, rush him in. But yeah, I think it's going to be very short lived. So.
Yep, no, I very much agree there. For the 5'8" position, Ethan Strange did win that jersey, and then Jamal Fogarty at halfback. Trav, are you any higher up on my boy?
No. Good pod play. Good pod play. Solid draft player. If you're able to get him or haven't had your draft yet, I know there'll be a lot of leagues trying to pump out some spots in the next couple of days. But
good luck.
He'd be a decent draft pick for later on. But I mean, I think that the halfback's pretty much set and forget for me and for a little bit and go from there. Oh, so sorry. You either set and forget with your 2 guns, or you basically set and forget with your 1 gun and a rookie. We'll talk about that later.
We'll get to it. Yeah, I think it was a 7th or 8th rounder for me actually. So I was pretty happy with Fog at that late in.
Did you get him that late? Oh, damn!
Yeah, I know.
Which
I know.
league?
I was just like, my
in ours. No, we don't care about that one.
I got Moses in mine in the League of Inches league. I think Joel's got Fogarty, so
I had to get my boy. I went early on him as well.
Yeah, too early.
I just wanted to be sure I got him. So I've been that high on him. I needed to make sure I had him in something to do with Supercoach, and that was it. Forwards, and here is where we just want to start celebrating already because the Big Red, he is starting hooker. That is right. Corey Horsburgh wins the starting spot. So 2 stints guaranteed. Oh, I cannot be any more higher on this bloke. Wow. Jesse?
Disclaimer, he's not starting hooker. You did say hooker.
Oh, prop. Sorry, prop. It's been a
props to you. Props to Corey. Props to Big Red. He's starting. God, mate, how good's that? That's exactly everything. This is Christmas come early. I love this. So yeah, if there's any reason to not have him in a side, there's not really at all. Like, he should be 100% owned now. So fantastic, man. I reckon good 50 minutes at least. Probably averages more than that. Maybe like a 1.1 sort of PPM would be nice. Dude, it's just money bags. It's so nice. Yeah, I'm stoked.
To take it a little bit further, Papali's on the bench, or Papali, sorry, is on the bench, who's probably going to be the straight swap for a rest. And we all know that he's on the sort of end of his career. He's probably only going to be a sort of pinch hitter now. He's going to come in, play your 20 or 30, and then that's about all he's going to get. And then may play longer if there's injuries and things, because he can. But so this to me is this just reeks of Corey Horsburgh about to do what he did before last year and average over 60. I think he's going to at least be about 1.1, 1.2 points a minute. I reckon. I can't wait to watch and see that. He's going to be a freak. I'm definitely happy to have him as my second front row forward spot.
Yeah, I think it's a guarantee. You have to have him in your starting lineup now, I feel like, which could potentially save some people some money, which they could play with elsewhere. So it's absolutely golden, I reckon. Wow.
To be fair, I haven't actually seen a team that doesn't have him in it. I've seen so many people posting their teams, and I have not seen a team without him in it. So
51, 52% owned now or something. He's over 50
now. Has to keep going up.
I haven't looked because I've got him 52%.
52, yeah. He'd be the highest. I don't think Terrell May's that high. So yeah, he'd be the highest in the front row position, and rightly so.
Well,
really.
actually, 50. He's 52% and May's 50%. So it's literally.
Could be someone
then it
who's,
drops down to
front
your
row
Tino
pair.
with 34 and Royce Hunt with 30. So like they're miles in front.
Real good.
Royce the choice. Tommy Starling at hooker, Joseph Tarpney, the other end captain, other prop. Hudson Young, Zach Hosking, and Morgan Smithies is your back row. They're fighting, got the inflatable bats out. They've calmed down now. They've got the slap on the wrist, and away they go. Zachy Hosking, I think, might be a little talking point because at certain points throughout the start of the year, a few of us have been high on him. I was very high on him early on and thought there was an injury there, thought he wasn't going to be playing in this, but it's been confirmed he is. He's a confirmed starter. And looking at the bench, I think there's also a big chance that he might be playing 80 minutes. So there's a huge I'm coming late here on him, but I'm definitely trying to see what I can do.
Yeah, I've thrown him into a team and come out with $0 in the bank, and it was almost a sign. I thought I have to keep him in here now. This is surely it. But no, look, I've been high on Hosking for a couple of years now too. Like even in his Panthers days, he pretty much never had a bad game. Like he would feature very rarely, but he would always come out and explode. Just the only problem is injury. But I'm starting to get over worrying about players that are injury risk. I think I'm just like, if they're a gun, get them, and if they get injured, just get rid of them. Ride the wave. But just a quick little stat dive. I've got a couple numbers on Hosking real quick for you. We're expecting him to play over, say, 60 minutes as an example. In pretty much his career in NRL, he's played 15 games over 60 minutes for an average of 74 minutes. So anything less than that's basically just getting rid of his injury-affected games. Average is 65, basing 53. So really good numbers, like higher than what his base is higher than what he currently is priced at. So yeah, he'll at least, if that's the case, he at least makes 150k. If he can hold it out, not share minutes, not get injured, I love the pick. Honestly, I do. I think he's a gun. He started off last year so hot too. Came out as like two try assists in a game, and then a couple of 100 points, and then just unfortunately just dropped off with injury. But yeah, I'm really tempted, like really, really tempted. I've got a couple little different options that I've got in there. So there's every chance by Vegas he's in my side for sure.
Trav?
Yeah, I'm high on him. I was just going to say that he started last year at 423, played 4 games before he missed the Para game, and got himself to 613. So he's risen 190k on the back of a 92 against Newcastle, 109 against West that he played 80 and 79 minutes. Then he got a 52 against New Zealand and a 32. He played 59 and 44 minutes. Started off real hot, pushed up 190k with 2 massive games. I mean, it's in him. It's definitely in him. And the stats that Jesse has just said there are really good. For me, unfortunately, I feel like there's always an injury or something that's about to happen. And Jesse's right. Like, I'm sick of sort of looking too much into injuries and not picking it. But he's kind of one of those ones where I'm like, yeah, the injury history is just a little bit too much. I might just sit and wait and see what happens. And if he kills it and he brains it, then I'll get him. Like, it's 513. So, like, I've got options to drop a couple of my higher achieving or my high price ones down to him. I think that would just free up so much money for me if he kills it. So, like, and he's not that too far out of reach that I can do a 1 up, 1 down kind of trade and make something there to push him up, or get one of my rookies, like one of my cheapies, like a Finafuiaki up to him. Like, it's not, he's sort of achievable. So I'm happy just to sit and watch.
See, the problem that I have with sitting and watching with guys like this is you sit and watch and you miss out, because by the time you get them,
can't have everyone. Can't have
everyone.
We're gonna sit and watch so many players and go, bloody hell, he was in my team at one point. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't.
At this point, pretty much every single player in Supercoach has been through our sides and gone out. So it's the ones we settle on. We're just like, why are these the ones that won the race?
Yeah.
But yeah, if he comes out and goes 100, I'll just be like, fuck, I should have just started.
If he comes out and he puts 100 and does something like, and he does that, I'll get him. I'm happy to, and I'll ride that wave. happy to. And I'll even be happy to go, no, I've lost those points there. I'll chase some points. I'll get him in. And if he gets injured the next game, I'm like, yeah, oh well. I kind of knew this was going to happen, but this is the risk. I wanted it. I saw what he was going to do. I'm not disappointed by it. Like, it is what it is. That's Supercoach.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just wait and see.
Yep. Fair enough. Interchange. Owen Paddy gets a bench spot. Simi Sasagi, Josh Papali'i, and Ada Mariotta. That is your bench with Levi, your 18th man. I'll just quickly go off the reserves before we touch on the interchange. It's Trey Mooney, Ethan Sanders, Chevy Stewart, and Jed Stewart as well. So Owen Paddy was probably the last one to talk about here. Become probably fairly popular amongst the Supercoach players out there, the community. I can just smell a little bit of it. Like, I'm not going to say trap because he's so cheap, but I don't know. I just don't like it yet because I just don't know how many minutes he'll play. Because Starling can hold his own. Starling's not like a guy that they're desperately needing to change. If it was Levi starting, I'd probably say I reckon, yeah, let's get on him. But Starling for mine's still a really decent player. So I'm just not sure what they'll do with Paddy. They don't need to rush him in yet. They can ease him in, give him 15-minute, 20-minute slots and stuff like that. So I'm just going to hold off for now.
Yeah, Stiggy's a bit slow with the youngsters. Like, he doesn't just throw them into the deep end. So I think he will be relevant at some point this year, and I'll definitely be getting him in when that happens. But I'm not going to, like, the price is good, $198, like, it's appealing. But I just don't want those 20s. You know what I mean? Because that's what it'll be for a long while. It's only anything happens to any of these hookers, and that's the thing. There's Levi as well. It's not just Starling. There's Levi, so you've got a couple to contend with. But look, he's already on the bench, so he's ahead of Levi at the moment. So that's a good sign. Anything happens and there's a switch, yeah, Paddy comes in, but it's a very close watch until that happens.
You watching, Trav?
Yeah, just don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, unfortunately, and I said this on the live show, is that number one, I'm really, really high on Tom Starling at the hooker spot, and he's a really good price. And with Paddy at 14, I just don't see Paddy stealing too many minutes off him. So, I think Starling's a little bit of a sneaky grab. But the thing for Paddy that as I said on the live show, is that
what's Starling's price?
If 300, yeah, somewhere around 340-ish, maybe.
Yeah.
So, but we can have a look at that in a second. But the thing that really concerns me is that Levi's just sitting there, like he's just floating around, and then that might stuff everything up for him. So, I'm not keen on Paddy at all. But a little cheeky, sneaky grab is Starling at a good price.
Yeah, he had a really good run last year, and when he gets the minutes, he's a freak. So he's 343k. Which is good, but again, it's just one of those situations where you're like, far out, what happens with the Raider hookers? You know what I mean? It's always been a bit of a headache. But in good minute games, 60 minutes plus for Starling, Jesus, he averages 68. He's played 20 games over 60 minutes, just averages 68 points. Like that for 340k.
And I honestly think the 60 minutes is almost his minimum. If they line up with Paddy as the 14, 60 minutes is basically what he's going to get. Paddy will come in, give him a sort of 10 and 10, and then, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy, eh? It just puts him on the radar big time. But
tell you what, I don't know about radar. I think I'm putting him in my team. Wow, those numbers in itself there,
monstrous.
I'm very, very, very tempted right now, but. Warriors, let's switch to the attack. They are coming into this game slight favourites as well. So we've got Chance. Nickel Clockstad has won the fullback spot, but that doesn't mean any of the fullbacks are missing, because on the wings, you got Tua Picky and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. And in the centres, Leah Towers won that position. Absolute gun. I know Jesse is very, very high on him. And Adam Pompey as well. Start us off, boys. Anything to talk about, or where do you want to talk about when it comes to the back line? Because all three fullbacks have now been named. So, firstly, I just want to say RTS is a concrete spot in my team now. Like, I think he's a must on the wing.
Yeah, that high on him. He's not in my side at the moment, but I am very keen on him. Yeah, I'm pretty keen on him. I did draft him in one of my drafts as well, so
Yeah.
I want to get a piece of that action just to watch him. But he's not currently in my side. I could definitely get him in and save like 50k as well
Leave
if I
him.
wanted to. So it's one of those things where I'm kind of just like, oh, how many Vegas players do I want? And that's the only reason. But top pick, he got his dual center, which kind of puts him in that mix as well because he was only fullback beforehand. He's quite cheap, 440 something k, I believe, mid 400s. A lot less than I was actually expecting. I thought he was a lot dearer than that. I thought he was in the fives before I saw his price. And
Yeah, I feel
I
like
even
he had some
asked,
good games last year.
he did, yeah, he had a couple. I think he didn't play too many last year, but he had a really low one. He had like a -2 or 3 in an 8-minute game, and it brought his average down really low just on that game. So without that one, I think he's averaging like 70 if you just exclude that injury game. So
Yeah, he's
it's a lot, but that was,
459k. He averaged
yeah,
52 by the end of the year. Before that -2 game, he was at 56.3.
yeah. And then he come back later on with like a 90 or something big.
Yeah, so he was at 56.3 when he played his last game against Penrith, and he got a 90 in round 11.
Yeah.
Then didn't play until round 20. Played 9 minutes, got -2. Then didn't play until the round 26. Played 80, got 90.
Yeah. So when he plays, he's a freak. He's a good little player, man. It's just obviously he's on the wing, not fullback. Whether that changes too much for him, I don't know. I like it. I sort of pondered it a little bit earlier today as well. So it's a good little pickup. He's very low owned still. I don't think a lot of people are going to rush to him. I think RTS kind of takes the limelight in a way because he's not that much. Oh, he's 100k more. I suppose it's kind of hard to find 100k these days, but yeah, I think he'll do well, honestly. But again, it's one of those placeholders. But Dallin's out for what, another 2 months?
Yeah.
Definitely.
He
Definitely.
should have a bit of time here. So, Trav, I believe you're on the other side of the fence when it comes to dual piggy.
Yeah, no, I'm not sold on him yet. I think he's a star. I've just picked him up out of my draft league. So to go into draft, as soon as I saw the duals, I went, yep, because originally he was only fullback. So I was like, yep, sweet. I'll take a center who's a fullback, and I'll put him in there just on potential. I think just at this point in time, I'm just going to sit and see. I don't think there's enough scoring in the Warriors early days to see the tries being scored and attacking stats that I think he can do out on the wing for the Warriors. I need to see the way the Warriors play and what happens. There's a lot of change. Seeing bloody what's his name, Harris Tavita picked just kind of puts me off a little bit more too, because I just I just don't see the way the halves are playing. Metcalf is back, but he's still young, and coming off major injuries and lots of injuries and all sorts of things. Yeah, I'm just not sold just yet. I want to watch and see, but I think he's a definite watch. I've started him. I've got that because of the dual. I would much rather a fullback playing with a dual center than having him as just playing on the wing. So if I can get him to fullback, if the Warriors get him to fullback because Nickel Clockstad either goes to the centers or gets injured, I'll get him straight away because I think there's potential in him for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get on him if he ends up at fullback at some point now this year with that CTW option there. You mentioned the halves, Lukey Metcalf halfback with his halves partner. It is not Tamari Martin. It is Chanel Harris Tavita, which has come from the clouds, I feel like, in a way. So very, very shocked by this. I don't know if it sounds bad. I don't even remember Chanel playing in the trials just because even he didn't even if he didn't do much, then I just didn't notice him, or if he didn't play, I'm not too sure. But I feel like this has just come completely out of nowhere. I don't know what Tamari Martin's done, but yeah, I think he's on the reserves tomorrow Martin, so he's fit. He's just been beaten by Chanel. So I think a few people said on our Tuesday show later in the comments it's something to do with the left, right foot sort of kickers and stuff. So that might be something to do with it, but I just feel like with Tamari Martin's game management, and when you got Luke Metcalf in there still that's working his sort of game out, I would have personally gone Tamari Martin for every day of the week. I just think that would have been a much better. But being a Luke Metcalf owner, I'm loving it because I just think that means he does so much more in this team. I just think Metcalf has now just become an absolute must in everyone's team. Whether you put him in if you're lucky enough to put him in your second 5'8" spot, if not, I'm more than comfortable now having him as my main 5'8", going up against some of those big dogs.
Yeah. I think it bolsters Metcalf's output as well. Tamari Martin actually didn't do. Oh, sorry, not Tamari Martin. Harris Tavita. He didn't score that bad last year when he started as a 5'8". He averaged 52 in 80-minute games as a 5'8", with an 8-pointer in there. Admittedly, the 8-pointer was in 89 minutes against the Dogs, so God knows how that managed.
What did he do?
Just horrendous. 20 in base, minus 10 in negative. I think it was the game that he missed every kick. Must have been, because there was a couple of really short.
Oh, that's right. He did too. That's why it went into overtime, and then he missed everything. And then, that's right. Oh,
so it's
poor
probably a good
fella.
thing.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was hard watching, honestly. I felt sorry for him. I think everybody did. So, you can't take it out. It wasn't an injury-affected game. It was just a bad game. And he still averaged 52 for the year. So, pretty good. He had a couple of high ones too, 68, 75, 94, 62. So, he's got it in him. I just don't like the idea of having Metcalf and Harris Tavita in my team. I just think it's a very bad idea. 2 Warriors halves, like you're going all in. Once that bye comes around, you kind of lose them both, and it's not worth it. Yeah, it could be very short-lived too. Like he's obviously won the spot for round 1, but Tamari Martin's surely due for that spot eventually. Who knows? And Tanner Boyd's still to come back, so like you never know what gets mixed around. If Harris Tavita can get a look in, Tanner Boyd can definitely get a look in. So, it's not for me, but yeah. What do we know?
No, not for me. And Luke Metcalf got the dual.
Very nice.
5'8", which is really delicious.
It's just handy. He'll never be in my halves, but if something goes poor with like a Duffy, for example, just move him on up, patch that hole.
Good work.
There's a play to put Metcalf in your halfback as your second halfback and go a Dewey and a Dearden, or a Weeks and a Dewey kind of thing. There's that play that can be on the cards if you don't want to go to the Duffy option.
Yeah, I've not even considered it.
I did.
Did you?
I did. As soon as I saw the duel, I did. Yep.
Yeah, I think I'll just keep it as a safety net.
Yeah, I want Duffy in my team. It helps me out way too much. Spoiler alert for about 10 minutes time. For the forwards, James Fisher-Harris, the captain, gets his first official game as a Warrior. Wade Egan and Mitch Barnett, absolutely world-class front row pairing. That is scary, scary, scary. Kurt Capewell, Nakora, and Aaron Clark wins the lock. I feel that is the talking point here for sure. The fact that Aaron Clark has won that lock position. Trav, I think you were ready to talk about Aaron Clark.
Well, I mean, everyone is 390K, has potential, has played big minutes before when playing in that position. He's scored very well. I think he's a really valuable and viable option. I'm just a slight concern around Dylan Walker and him being there, as well as what I think maybe a Jackson Ford might be able to produce for them. I think at 390, have a look at Aaron Clark for sure.
I don't know. I'm not as keen.
I'm not.
I'm just not as keen. I like the points. The stats are there for it too. In starting lock games from 2022, there's only 7 that he's played over 40 minutes. He averages 56. So it's good. Decent numbers. Pretty consistent, pretty steady. But I don't know. For whatever reason, it's just not screaming out to me right now. There's every chance, down the line, if he continues going on and he actually looks the goods, I'll probably get him in my side at some point. But I just want to kind of see if it even works out for him, or if Walker just switches over. It's more about the minutes share, to be fair, because it's just forwards everywhere on that bench. So
this is where they all fit in. I feel like him and Walker could dead set split this 40-40 or something. It could be one of those sorts of things.
That's half the problem.
For the bench, Dylan Walker, we have just spoken about him. Jackson Ford, Valmunga, and Halasima on the interchange. 18th man is Sam Healy, and then on your reserves are Tamari Martin, Iremaya Tavea, Bunty Afoa, and he's still floating around old Bunty Afoa, and Edward Costi as well. So I think that's about it for the Warriors. I don't think there's much more to talk about. So don't really. Obviously, I think there's a few people out there with Valmunga in their sort of fifth spot or sixth spot for your second rows, I think.
Yep.
So potentially an okay, but we were speaking a bit off air. Jesse, just quickly wanted to let everyone know that as well, and just a bit of a caution play maybe around that, because if you go that way now and this becomes someone better next week, you've already lost that spot. So
yeah, like I took him out of my side. I knew he was going to be on the bench too, and it was kind of one of those things. But it was more so, what other 235 6K second rowers are going to appear next week? Because there's all this talk about, like a Hubner, Katoga, there's a couple, Gajewski. There's just a few, you know what I mean? And it's like I can always get him in. He's always a good downgrade option if he performs well. And I kind of want to see what the minutes look like for him and Halasima. I also want to see what happens when, who else is there to come into this side? Jacob Laban as well. He's another one that's excluded for injury, so I expect him to be in the bench as well. One of those two might drop out. I just don't want to get it wrong, and I'll just wait. I'll wait. Give it another week, 2 weeks. When it comes to the price changes, it could be a very handy downgrade, and I'll probably do it then.
No, fair enough. Penrith versus the Sharkies. First one is the Premiers. 5 in a row they're going for. Still cannot believe we are saying that to start the year. Dylan Edwards.
What about
what was that?
Well, you've skipped
What
the
do you
ref.
mean?
Who's the ref?
I don't care about that.
Grant Atkins. You've skipped him.
I don't care about the ref. We don't get to pick a ref in Supercoach, mate. This isn't a Tuesday show.
It's part of the team list.
Unless they impact Supercoach scores, they can get stuffed. Unless we can start bringing a ref in each week, and we get points for each time they blow the whistle or something.
I just wanted you to get all angry.
Imagine captaining your ref.
Oh, how cool would that be?
You get a multiplier. A ref is a multiplier for a game.
You'd go Sutton every week because he just loves the limelight. He loves his noggin on the screen every week. So Dylan Edwards, fullback for the Penrith Panthers. Casey McLean, not Jesse, guys. Casey, don't get mixed up. I'm just giving everyone a heads up. Paul Alamotti on the wings. Isaac Tungo and Luke Garner in the centres. Firstly, I will be shocked if they start this, and I said this on the Tuesday night show, if Luke Garner is actually in the centres to start this game, because there is, if you look at the reserves, there is a couple of little options they can go. Obviously, Jesse McLean's there. So is Blaze, who we've seen play centre a number of times throughout last year. So who knows? It could be Ivan's way of protecting one of his youngsters and have them come on. We already know, and we'll talk about it down the track, but the Sharks backline is very, very classy. So might not want to put pressure on the youngster leading into a big game like this, but I'm shocked. Apart from that, I do like Casey McLean being named. So definitely keeping an eye on him. And he's been floating around my team for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So
yeah, big time. I don't think you can really get these McLeans wrong this year. There's 200K between them, so it's a bit trickier. But yeah, no, he's lined it up. Whispers Alamotti might be injured too, so Jesse McLean could actually start. But again, it's just one of those what happens kind of things. But yeah, Luke Garner was very surprising to see in the centers. I kind of didn't expect any of that, but for a defensive kind of thing against the Sharks and whatnot, put it forward there makes sort of sense. But I don't really think there's too much to really look into with these guys. I don't mind the Casey McLean play. I think 440 odds pretty good, but it's very dense, that 440 bracket. Howarth and Marky Mark. There's a couple of options, so yeah.
Obviously, the big news as well. No Toto Trav, so that's a big blow. I think he was a bit fairly popular when it came to Supercoach, and everyone once that Karaz news came was he was one of the options that we did speak about at the time. So that's definitely a no-go zone now. But again, it probably does just lift that Casey McLean's numbers a bit more. I think he has to work a bit harder in this game.
Yeah, 100%. I think Casey McLean's an absolute valuable play, and I use that word very strategically. Valuable because he's such a good value, and 2, I think they're just going to fly out to him. I think the tries are going to come his side, and they're ready to go. And I think that I'm really keen to see what happens. I am not picking him. I may change, but I just want to be mindful of how many players I've got playing in Vegas. And it's interesting to say that, but because at the end of the day, it's still kind of round 1, but it's Vegas. But Yeah, I just want to watch because there's a lot of news. There's still a lot of games and a lot of players and a lot of news to come out between now and TLT next week. So I'm kind of watching where I'm at. Case, I'm starting with 2 guys in the 400K and then Amazu, who's only just slightly above 500. So if Case Clean comes out and brains it, I've got 3 people who are not doing what I want them to do. I can drop down to him. So yeah, I'm happy to watch that. But Jesus, that's a really good play. I really like it.
I'm tempted. I'm telling you right now. In the halves, obviously Nathan Cleary has been named. We can all breathe a huge sigh of relief. The captain next to his name as well. His halves partner is not Blaze Talangi. It is Jack Cole. If you haven't heard that news yet, you've been living under a rock. Yes, Jack Cole has won the spot. Not Schneider, no one like that. It is the youngster Jack Cole, which we mentioned a couple of times on here throughout this preseason to keep an eye on Jack because we all rate him. We think he's an absolute goer of a player. So no surprises whatsoever. I know there's been a little bit of a blow up in a way, and some media and that are saying what's happened here. Blaze, blah, blah, like Jack Cole is a really good young player. If anything, I was shocked at the start that they actually signed Blaze, but let's see. Maybe the plan is center. They've shown us the poker face the whole time, and Blaze comes out playing center on the weekend. Who knows? But yeah, what's Jack Cole's price? I think it's the 300s, is it?
No, he's dearer than that. He played too well last year. It's almost too much, to be honest with you, considering the uncertainty about Blaze.
How long he gets?
449, 450K. Yeah. So, you've got options. He's basically the same price as Metcalf, and he's dearer than Metcalf and Dewey. So, but again, man, he's good. Can't knock his ability and his talent. And I think they're not going to lack with Cole in their 5'8" spot over Blaze. Definitely not.
Are you as up in arms as some are about that move?
No, I expected it. Honestly, I really did. I'm pretty sure I even spoke about it during the Panthers list. Like, it would not surprise me in any world at all. Cole starts. Blaze had surgery in the offseason. He hasn't played a game yet. Like, it's very hard to just throw. And he's still young. He's still a rookie. He was a rookie at the Eels last year. So, you're going to put him into a system to throw him in there. Basically, put him to the wolves almost, because you're just like, what happens if it goes south? Cole's been there. He's done it. He knows the combinations. He's worked with them. He's played with them before for a while now. So, yeah, I think it's the right decision. I think they're probably going to just ease Blaze in when he's fit and ready, and he's sort of worked a bit more out. And then, Blaze will be the 5'8" long term for the season, I'd imagine. But to start with, I like what they've done for sure.
Yeah, I said that at the live show. I think it's Blaze's jersey. It's just a matter of time. Unless Jack Cole comes in and brains it and has a really good start to his year and finds that Cleary-Luai sort of relationship that they had, and he replaces that, then it's Cole's spot. But I think Cole at this point in time is just a place getter. Talangi's got to come back from off-season surgery. Talangi's got to show Ivan Cleary, who we know Ivan Cleary, you've got to earn Ivan Cleary's trust. And so you bloody well should. They've just won 4 in a row and played 5 grand finals straight. So, yeah, I think it's Talangi's jersey, but it's just a wait and see what happens, and go from there.
Yep. Forward pack for the Penny Panthers, Moses Leota and Lindsay Smith are your prop pairing. Mitch Kenny is in the 9. Scotty Sorensen, Liam Martin, and Isaiah Yeo is in your starting back row. Jesse, there was a name I didn't read out there, I think. Was there someone I missed? Or
I was waiting for this. For the same points that I talked about Blaze just then.
Well played. Very well played. Very well played. Because I had a look through here and I'm like, I heard him say that one and that one and that one. Who's he going? And then went, aha.
There he is.
Very well played.
Yeah, look, it sucks. It really does. I expect him to start. Genuinely, I did. But, not meant to be. Not yet. It's the same thing, though. I still think he's going to earn his spot in that side. I think regardless of the talent someone comes into the Panthers with, prove it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Work for it. Yeah, you can't just walk into a premiership team like that. So I think he will definitely start. I think it's going to happen at some point for the exact same reasons with the Blaze discussion just then. But yeah, a bit unfortunate for my team, definitely.
I want to ask you just quickly before Trav has his input, because I know you have been massive on Scotty Sorensen in the past, and I feel like he's being slept on massively to start this year because he's a decent price. Like, I feel like that's almost a way you could just go from IPAP over to Sorensen. And he's been very, very consistent, I feel like, over the years. And I remember you have spoken about him so many times going, he's the guy. He's so, like, he can do a big score as well. Like,
yeah. I'm
No one's talking
almost
about him.
freaking chairman of the Scotty Sorensen fan club last couple of years, and it's just now it's one of those problems where I'm like, if I saw him any for the last 2 years at 486, I'd be like, shit, locking this bloke in 100%. But it's the Papali'i factor now that's like it's put him in risk because him getting good minutes on the edge kills it. You've seen it pretty consistently now. But now that spot in discussion, is he going to go through the middle? Is he going to rotate here? Like what's happening with Sorensen? Because Martin's not going anywhere. No way. So if anyone is going to make way for Papali'i, it is going to be Sorensen. No, disfortune to the guy's a beast. He's done really well for it. So he doesn't really deserve to get dropped to the bench. But again, he's got a bit more flexibility about it. But you know what, man? It could be one of those things where maybe it doesn't happen this year. And maybe Papali'i is the guy that goes through the middle and everyone sleeps on Sorensen again, like everyone always does, which is possible. But yeah, it's just hard. It's just tricky. I don't know if I want to dive into it. Yeah, if it was Papali'i, man, I'd be all over it. But I don't know, tricky now.
I'm more keen on Sorensen, to be honest. And even if it means a stint in the middle, I still like that for him.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's good. Good base. Good tackles. He's always good for him. He can bust the line too. So like, it's very viable. He's owned by how many? 0% probably.
Who are you going to take out?
Well, that's it. Like Lindsay Smith is solid.
Lindsay Smith just played for Australia.
Yeah, he's not going. He deserves that.
They need a break.
Leota?
Yeah, but they don't. Who are you taking out that's going to get minutes? Like I'm looking at this list, just going, "Holy crap!"
Beast, man.
Like what a list! It's so good.
Still
and I'm just looking at thinking, bloody hell! Like, and then where would Papali'i fit? Like, and who are you taking out? Like now that I'm looking at it, I'm sitting there going, I'd actually have every one of them in front of Papali'i. Like, and Papali'i becomes a pinch hitter type thing. Like, I'm just looking at it thinking, unless there's an injury, I'm not keen on Papali'i at all. He's just completely taken off my thought pattern.
Sorry, everyone. Jesse's led down the garden path.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
What rubbish this man has spoken about. Stop listening
He's
to
got
him.
one wrong.
I mean, listen to the podcast, but don't take his advice.
Yeah. Grain of salt for that one, unfortunately. Had high hopes.
You know what though? I can generally feel he is actually gutted about this because he's been so big on iPad for so long. It was like his first guy picked.
It was, yeah. When he signed for him, I was like, "Oh man, the heavens have opened! Like this is the best thing that could have happened." No, just crush me.
You'll be right. We'll pump you up. Interchange bench for the Panthers. Dane Laurie. IPAP, sorry to rub that in a bit there, Jesse, but IPAP on the bench, Matty Eisenhuth and Lurin Patea. I heard he's an actual gun as well. So these juniors that are coming through, there is massive raps on him. So it doesn't stop. Brad Snyder is the 18th man. And as we mentioned on the reserves, he's Maverick Geyer, Jesse McLean, Luke Summerton, and Blaze Talangi. So as I keep saying, I don't think they'll have Luke Garner there to start the game. I think that's just crazy up against that Sharkies backline. And talking about that, let's go into the Sharks lineup. Will Kennedy has won that fullback spot. I don't think it's too much of a surprise. I think they'll give him this first 6 or so weeks to prove himself. He knows by now, I reckon, that all the talk around how there's some guns at the Sharks, some good young kids coming through. He's got to really get going. The wings, Ronaldo de Mulatalo and Sammy Stone Street, who has become hot property. We will talk about that in 1 second. Jesse Ramian and Kyle Iro as well. So, I guess we're just going to talk about Stone Street.
You talk about the whole bloody backline. That's saucy. Excluding Will Kennedy. In hell, man, the Sharks have got a good setup. They're so solid. They're so reliable. They're all going to pop probably an average 60 plus. Realistically, man, it's just nailed. But yeah, like if you want to talk about Stone Street, obviously taking Katoa's spot for the next 5 months, which probably just under 5 now at this point. Yeah, really good. We sort of had a bit of a peace out on him when the rumors were coming through that Katoa was a long-term injury. And then Stone Street's games, he scored 8 tries in 5 games last year. Low base, but just lethal finisher. And in a team like that, he's going to be playing on that right edge. If Hines is moving, Ramian's looking good, Nikora's there. That's a hell of an edge to be on. Yeah, he can definitely bag some tries, man. But they all can. That's the thing with the Sharks guys. Like, they all can do it. So just whether you're willing to spend up, because he is the cheapest. I think he's just over 500k. There are lots of options around 500. So you'd basically just go on for the try scoring ability. But yeah, you can't really knock it. It's just this game's against the Panthers. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'd be banking too many tries not in this one. But their run after this game is friggin' juicy, man. It's very tempting. To not have any Sharks players, I'm kind of a bit scared. So
just wait for the round two.
Hang on.
go on.
Did he just say to not have any Sharks players? Did you just
Me?
say you don't have any Sharks players, Jesse?
I don't think I do. No, I don't have any.
Team reveal is going to be very interesting, Jesse, because you've been speaking about one number 7 who's got a very long, luscious, bigger hair since just as heavy as IPAP has. He's been talking about. Oh my gosh!
I know. Isn't this crazy,
Jesse?
Gone to the dark side.
I remember the quote. Wasn't the quote by round 6? Everyone will be wanting to be on ... and be kicking themselves that they weren't on ...
Yeah, probably.
He who must not be named,
including himself now.
You got to remember that. We can still change our teams. Okay, it's still.
Yeah, you
possible.
will as well. You will.
I will.
Sure.
Trust me. You watch
before Sunday. You only got a couple of days.
Be part of the legends. Be part of the legends.
And about 7,000 changes between now and then.
Can we just mention one bloke that in this backline that hasn't been mentioned much, and I know it's because of his price tag. I still think there is value here, and it's Mr. Kyle Iro himself, who is just starting to get. We always like his base stats ridiculous, and all we were waiting for is some attacking stats, which did start to come towards the last few games of the year. But I think this year he comes in with a whole heap of confidence, not worried about second-year syndrome at all. This kid's a star. Like I just can't wait to see him go again, and I think he's going to have so much more attacking stats this year. And I still think there is value at his current price tag. And once that the Kiraz news became official, he was the one I was so tempted on. And maybe I have. You'll know in a few minutes' time, but I've been huge on Kyle Iro, and I think I drafted him very early as well. I'm that big on him.
Yeah, you missed out on him last year, so you never got to enjoy it all, which was a bit of a shame because it was a freaking good ride to be on. Average 64, based 41, for the year. Like it's solid numbers, man. And then when those attacks started picking up, how did he end? 78, 84, 87, 94, 91, 61, 62. Just monstrous, dude. Just a really, really good run. So, yeah, I like him. I like him the most. I think he's got the attacking upside when he gets going, probably as good as like a Mulatalo does. I think he's got a better base and more attacking potential than Ramian does. I really like it, man. I do. It's just you're obviously spending up. It's big dollars, but he can do it. There's no reason he can't. So.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me is that there's more cases than not of second-year blues. So I'm just that's the only thing that I've got negative. And if that's the only thing you've got negative about, it's pretty hard not to start him. So, yeah.
Watch early, and I'll tell you what, this first boost that we do, probably round 3, I might be having Mr. Iro as part of my trade-ins. Halves pairing, Braden Trindle named at the 6, Nico Hines named at the 7. Pretty straightforward. We'll probably talk about Nico Hines a little bit more in the team reveals because that might be a big talking point when it comes to 1A Mr. Jesse's team list, and we'll see whether he has or he hasn't and why or why not. So we might just skip past 4 now because that's pretty stock standard. And I think for Braden Trindle's side of view, I just think maybe perhaps but it's always more value if Hines isn't there. I think that's when he becomes more of a play when it comes to Supercoach.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Unfortunately, you never want to see Hines out, but yeah, that's the sort of the thing that happens in the Supercoach world. Aden Fanua-Blake will get his first start in his new colours, pairing with Oregon Kaufusi, Blake Brayley in at hooker, Britton Nakora, Teague Wilton, and Cam McInnes. So a very stock standard forward pack that we've really anticipated the whole time. Doesn't mean for mine anyone's gone up in my pecking order. Everything's sort of stayed the same. Anything to add for the forward pack, boys?
I like the bench setup for Fanua-Blake's potential 60-minute role, which he's very used to. I also really like it which has not been spoken about by bloody anyone, McInnes. I suppose everyone's super high on Watson. This looks good for McInnes, man. Like he's dual hooker as well. Exactly the same positional spread. Major pod comparison. Good run after this game. Even in this game, he's going to be a worker. Like I'm the more I'm looking at McInnes now, the more I'm like, do I need Watson in my side for the pod play? I like it, genuinely. I really do. I'm not just talking out of my ass. I think he's obviously got the work rate for it. So, but yeah, it's exactly how the Sharks I expected them to line up. I think everyone does. They're a very predictable team when it comes to their team list. They don't really play too many games with it all, and they're just settled. It looks like a team that's ready to do something more. You know what I mean? Like they've had the same boys. They've been working on it. They've added Fanua Blake, who just looks nuts. Yeah, man, it's a good looking team for sure. I reckon they get up in this game too.
Ooh, look out.
Yeah,
there we
I'm
go.
taking the Sharks for this one.
I
like it.
I'll say the bench, and then Trav, I'll get you. You might be able to talk through the bench. Daniel Atkinson, Mr. Talakai, Braden Hemlin-Ueli, and Tom Hazelton. The 18th man is Tuku Hau Tapuha. So that's the big boys didn't get the bench spot that I think many anticipated, but he's right there in the thick of things. And the reserves is Hiroti, Billy Burns, still around Billy Burns, Jaden Beryl, and Hohepa Puru. So, Trav, anything to add to this Sharks lineup?
Nah, not really. The Sharks are what we all thought the Sharks are going to be. They're going to be very good. There's options across the park. I mean, no one's really talking about Nicker either. He's sitting there. Yeah. But I mean, Blake Brayley is looking, to me, is looking cherry ripe for an improvement beside AFB. So, yeah, like it's just hard to pick it. It's just hard to pick them. There's so many options.
The team is so good, so
all
consistent across the board. You just seem to not have any of them. That's the problem. Like, especially to start with, because they are priced at basically what they will average for the year because they are so consistent.
Yeah.
There's very little value in the Sharks as far as upside in price. And that's why, Kyle Lero coming out of nothing, he just matched the rest of the team. So,
especially when you see him versing Penrith in round 1, which I think has scared a lot of people off. I think by round 2 and onwards, they'll become a hot talking point, and there'll be players that everyone out there is trying to get sooner rather than later for sure. So I think this is his first round.
Just kind of jump on them when their price gets appealing enough, because you're never really keen enough to rip the whole Band-Aid off. But yeah, good team, man. They've got a good looking team.
Very much so. All right, let's crack in. Let's get into our team reveal. So this is official. So sort of how it will work. Obviously, as we said, any change from here on in for this week will be sent into our Legends group. So stay up to date there. Go click on Facebook, the subscriber hub. You'll see it all there. Whenever we do something, we'll let everyone know via that in that community. And then next week, we'll let you know from the teams that we've spoken about today, any changes we've done from here till that next, obviously after Teamless Tuesday next week as well. But just locking in a bit of a team now for obviously the Vegas week, pumping in, going from there. I'm first. The novice is first, the rookie. Everyone copy as you please. Well, let's all go ahead and just win this. What is it, 100K this year? Or is it still 50? Or is it 100?
It's more than I've got right now. So I'll take whatever it is.
Better than nothing.
It doesn't matter what it is.
I'll take 1,000 at the moment, Tommy. Just transfer it to us.
Take a pair of socks.
So YouTubers will see this straight away. They'll be able to look through and already grilling the comments. We love it. I'll go from hookers down because I'll save the flex till last. Hookers, I've gone the Sandon Smith and Peter Mamazoulis combination. I wasn't that high on Mamazoulis. I'm actually a bit more keen on him now that the news has happened with the injuries and stuff. And it seems like there is that rumor around about a good-looking man. What's his name again? He's got the halfback spot. Humphries. Jamie Humphries at South might have that spot. So that might help Mamazoulis play a bit more minutes, which might help that. And I don't want to spend any really more on that, but we see that Starling option has got me very tempted. And I do have about 50K left that I can spend for this team. Front rowers, T. May. I have not moved him once at all. He's one of those one player I've set from the start and have not changed him whatsoever. Big Red, Corey Horsburgh's there. Royce Hunt and Tom Amone are my players. So there's some raps coming out of the Bulldogs. I listened to a podcast from Gus the other day, and he's got massive raps on Tom Amone. So I feel like he'll be in the team, and he might be able to play some decent minutes. So 232, I think there's some good sort of money to be made there from him. Otherwise, we probably could get trapped like we did last year with a couple of the doggies front rowers, but who knows? I've gone pretty heavy with my second rowers, which I did not do last year, and I'll sort of talk a bit more about this one. So I got Isaiah Yeo, Ola Kawatu, Jacob Preston, Dylan Lucas is on my bench. That was a late change because I did change something in the wingers and centers once Shibasaki became available. So I rushed to get him. I wanted some value there and some more cash generation. Fina Filiaki, but coming off recent reports, I might change that come Team List Tuesday next week. It's not sounding too good from his point of view. And Jack Jazeski, honestly, that name every freaking time gets me. Is my last spot. So last year, and we spoke about it when we were doing these last year, we went the mid-tiers, and I filled my team up, my second rowers with them, and I just got stung by too many. So I don't want to do that this year, and I think there is great value in a lot of these higher up second row forwards this year. Like we've spoken about, Ola Kawatu's run that many times now that I just cannot start this year without him. I would hate myself not having that. Isaiah Yeo, I've been so big on how much more he'll probably do, which I don't know if it's humanly possible now that Luai's not there. So I just need to have him in my team. And if it does bust, I literally can go down to anyone in that position. So I'm not that worried. And if it does bust, hopefully a bust for him only means you still get a 60 point, which I'm happy with, more than happy with, especially to start the year when we keep saying attack and stats aren't always quite there. And I think everyone's seen what Preston can do last week. And give me a bit of that. He looks like he's in real good form. And if anything, it was a question between him and Hosking, which obviously Hosking would give me a little bit more cash. But I just think Preston's in for a great start to the year. And I think the Dogs will want to make a statement early on. They've got a couple of nice little early matchups thrown in there as well. So looking forward to that. And Lucas, I love Lucas now having that starting edge spot. Would prefer to have him starting in my center wings for just be nice, but it is what it is. Halfbacks, I've gone Cleary and I've gone Duffy as well. Can't go past him at the moment. Lukey Metcalf's my 5'8". Adam Dewey, I've jumped on the Dewey bandwagon. I'm just, now that the Olam news has come out as well, I just think obviously hopefully he stays fit. Looks like he's got the goal kicking as well. I think there's great value in Adam Dewey there. He has scored quite well in centers before, I believe. So not worried about that either. I know he had a great game in the halves last weekend, but he can do the same similar sort of job at center. My CT dubs. So I've spent a bit up for a couple of these as well. Garrick and RTS. Skelton, who I've been big on for a while now, and Purdue as well. Arthurs, Shibasaki, and Robert Toya. Obviously, all that news about Toya, you simply have to have him in your team at 198K. Fullbacks, I think most people I've spoken to have the same sort of setup now that the Latrell news and that has happened. Drinky confirmed not goal kicking, but he did score great, which was our hot topic on Sunday night's show, Jesse. We spoke about that at length. Tommy Trbojevic and Kalen Ponga, and my flex is Isaiah Iongi after I've been very, very impressed with him, and I think he'll score quite well. So that's my team. I don't need to dig too into that. I'll let the other boys have their teams up and go a bit more deeper. But, boys, there we go. That's the team that's going to win the comp.
It's actually bloody good, to be fair. I'll give you that.
Thanks, mate.
I'd probably swap Ponga into your flex position. Just give yourself that starting position so you can actually get it. You know what I mean? Instead of wasting the reserve if you're not going to play Yongi that week. But, it is what it is. If you wanted to move Dylan Lucas into your centers, you could. It depends on how high you are on Shibasaki, to see what one of these second row cheapies come through, and you can just swap them like for like cash wise. So it's an option easily, and just bench Purdue. You know what I mean? And then your center wing is cracked. So it's good. Honestly, it's really good. Your second row is really good. Your center wing's really good. Yeah, it's a solid side, man, big time. And I suppose if you're that keen on Starling, you can just move Mamazelis up with that extra cash that you've got. It's really good. Yeah, it's just obviously, I don't know, the front rows are a bit low. Like May and Horsburgh, realistically, you probably don't need any other front rowers than that. It's just the bench guys. But see what happens next week. You know what I mean? Like, team list hasn't come out yet. Neither of them are playing this week, so there's nothing to worry about. I think you got a good little thing going.
I was a bit worried about that, but then watching Hunt's game on the weekend, I actually think Hunt will do well. He was charging off the back fence, and he looked like he actually wanted to do a bit of work with the Tigers. So I'm not too worried. Like, the 249 price tag's a bit scary to have as your third player. I get that, but I'm a bit more comfortable and at ease now with that. Obviously, when the Tigers have the bye, it is going to be a pain in the ass, but by then I'll probably have got Tino into my team, I anticipate. So I'll probably work a few things around that and go from there. So
see what happens. Actually, I'm just thinking, like, you see what happens with the Roosters guys. If Wong and White both get a start, you should be able to afford Finafiliaki to Wong and Hunt to White with the coin that you have. It'll be very close, I think, though. But there's options, man. There's plenty of things to look at now till next week, but I like it.
Perfect. Next up, we've got Trav's team. Here we go. Talk us through it, kind sir.
So just to touch on it, because Jesse stole every part of my
Sorry.
points then. I didn't get a chance to say a single thing, but that's all right. And then we got moved to me. But hey, I'll just.
Oh, sorry. I'll go back. I'll go back to me.
Don't even worry about it. I was just going to say round 12 is for the West Tigers bye, so you've got so long to worry about any of that problems. By then, knowing you will have used 30 trades by then anyway. So,
trade Boost will be done. I'm not saving Boost anymore. That's overrated. We spoke about that at the end of last year. Saving Boost, overrated. Go on. Go, Trav.
So I have gone Connor Watson and Sandon Smith. I think Sandon Smith's a no-brainer. And I've moved Connor Watson up to the hooker spot. I originally had him at 2RF, but I've put him up to the hooker because I'm not keen on anyone else in the hooker spot. It just doesn't feel it doesn't feel good having two cheap hookers. And I know what you're saying about Matt Mazelis. And I really just need some more information over the next week or so for me to make a change. Worst case scenario is, I'm not super keen on Finafiliaki and 2RF. So I potentially will swap Watson back to the 2RF and push Finafiliaki back to Mamazelis. But at the moment, I really like this as a hooker. I've got your stock standard front row forward, Team A and Horsburgh. I think Big Red's at a lock now, and I'm just comfortable to just, after watching what Team A had done over the preseason, like last week, I think, what did he in 40 minutes? He put up 50 odd points and just looked like a monster. Like I just can't wait to watch him get 70 minutes and just towel everyone up. Noffa White and Royce Hunt on the bench, but yeah. I want to preface all of this really now that I've only got to there is that there's a lot of change probably going to happen, and TLT next week's going to be a big discerning factor of what we do. But that's where I'm at there. Second row forwards, I am sitting at Hopgood, Preston, and Seyfarth with Wong, Krzyzewski, and Valmunga. I am just on the goat. Like I have spoken very highly about Ola Kawatu all year, but as I watch Ola Kawatu and see what he has done, and what he can do, and that he's at 21% ownership, I kind of wanted a pod. So I've listened to Joel and what everyone's kind of said, and I've gone down to the goat. That's what I'm pretty happy to have Hopgood sitting there at the moment. I'm very high on Preston. And all the stats and everything that I've seen over the preseason just screams to me about, I think, Seyfarth's ready to burst with Team A. So I'm very happy to have Team A in there. And then on the bench, I've got Wong, Krzyzewski, and Valmunga. So there's a few sort of changes and bits and pieces that I'm thinking of doing and where it's at. But at the moment, I'm very keen on that. It's not near as shorn up as yours, Joel. You've spent really, really big, and I really like that. But I've tried to find some value so that I can shore up what I'm about to talk about in just a tick. I've got Cleary, lock him in, set and forget, not worried about it. He is what it is. He's my number one draft pick. He was my number one in Supercoach. And then at the end of the day, I don't think Cleary's going to bomb out that much. If he does, he's a gun. I'm not going to worry about how much he drops. I'm still going to keep him there. I'm not going to play that game. and just go from that. And the only time I'll get rid of him is when I see that he's got an injury, and more than likely he'll be gone and I'll get someone else. And then the second he's back, I'll get him again. And Jesse knows how that feels. He did it last year, and I'm ready to play that this year, and I'll do that this year and happy to. Cleary is a freak. And I just reckon this year he's just won 4 in a row. He's got nothing else to prove really, but I just think Cleary's just ready to go. You know what? I got nothing else to prove other than the fact that I want to win a Dally M, and I'm the best player in this competition. So I'm just going to, here's my chance. I don't have my partner in crime in Luai. I'm ready to go. So I'm just ready to watch him. And I've got Duffy. Very keen on Duffy. Goal kicking, 198K, halfback. His Q Cup form last year just speaks volumes around how freaking good this guy is. I think he's the perfect pair to match up next to Dearden. I think he's better to match in the way he plays and what he offers than what Clifford is. So I just think job security wise, Duffy's locked in. And the only thing that's going to stop that is if the Cowboys don't perform. And I think then he'll be one of those guys that'll drop out. But I just don't actually see the Cowboys not performing either. So I think Duffy's locked that spot. And the fact is that it was originally Hines. I've dropped it down, made myself 500 and something thousand, and been able to push everything around. So I'm very happy to have Duffy. And I'll quote you here, Jesse, on what you did on Sunday in terms of the money spent and the money saved is a bigger value and more important to me, because I've been able to make up the difference of what I'm going to get from what I think Duffy's going to get around 50. I think that's a lock. I think I'd be happy. Yep. I reckon Duffy's about 50. And what's Hines going to average? Let's say at worst he averages 75. So yeah, he's probably going to get 120, might get a 60, whatever. You'll average around 75. So that's 25 points. But I think the $500,000 I've been able to save and push into, as you can see, my center wings is pretty loaded. I've been able to get an extra 2 RF. I think it far outweighs the cost value there. So very happy to have Duffy sitting on that. And I sort of really got more excited about that once I listened to some of the words you said on Sunday. So there's a little kudos to everybody and a little prop to make sure you listen to Jesse on a Sunday night for the review shows. The 5'8", I've got, stock standard Metcalf Dewey, but I did say just before that I think I'm going to try and find a way to push Dewey to weeks. But at this point in time, I'm really happy to have Metcalf and Dewey. If I can't find a way to get to weeks, I'm still going to be happy to sit there with that. I think Dewey.
Do you have any money left?
I think I have about 8K. At the moment, I'm still pretty happy to have Dewey in my team. So, and the way that he's looking, I think Dewey's he's just slightly over the pod range. So he's still, a decent pod even. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. In the wings, I've just tried to load up as much as I can. So I've got Garrick. I think he's just a no-brainer. Start him, set him. He's off. Even if he doesn't start on the wing and he's in the centers, pick him. He's kicking. Manly are going to chew teams up in the first 5 weeks. So he's going to get heaps of points just from his goal kicking. So he's a lock. I am incredibly keen. And the more I've spoken and gone over preseason about this guy in Asako, the more I've had to make sure I get him in the team. The more I read into what's happening, the way that I see the Dolphins, I follow Dolphins on the socials now. I feel like there's chat around that Farnworth is lined up beside Asako, which just makes it so much more freaking exciting. Like we all saw what Farnworth did for Bostock last year and how good he was. I think Asako is way better player than what Bostock is. So just Asako being on the outside of Farnworth is just, I don't have words of excitement to say that's appropriate for a podcast. I'm just so keen on Asako. I legitimately think Asako wins try scoring of the year, and if I could bet on it, I would.
Should be able to.
Can you? Yeah, okay.
Surely.
You're getting mixed up with Dally M. You can't bet on Dally M.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. That goes to show you how much I bet. Yeah, so Asako locked into my team. Very happy. He's not going anywhere. I've brought in Marju. And what I had to do, and this is against the grain of how I've been going all preseason, is I needed to find some money, because the more I think about it, the more I'm so excited about Marju. I just think he's ready to pick up. I think he's going to get very close to his 2023 form, lining up beside Best. His value he screams value to me at 513. And to get him, I've had to go out Howarth to get up to Marju, which is why I went weeks down to Dewey, because I wanted to go Howarth up to Marju. I wanted to get him in. What I'm tempted and potentially going to do is actually drop Skelton down to Howarth. But at this point in time, I'm really happy to see Skelton in my team. I really like that and excited about Skelton. I think he's just a machine. I think he's ready to go for the Tigers. Very happy to have him. And that shored up my centres. Arthur's preseason form, the injury with Stags and the things like that, I think with Ben Hunt playing there in the 5'8", in the halfback 5'8" role, just showed me in the preseason how freaking valuable and good Jesse Arthurs is going to be. And I just think he's an easy pick. So as soon as I saw all his preseason form, I even just watching him in the All-Stars game. Was it All-Stars? The Indigenous game, sorry.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
I just looked at him and just went, God, you're prime picking for a really good year this year. So Jesse Arthurs was in. Purdue just as a no-brainer at that price. And obviously Toya, he has to be 100% with all the news that's happening. And then, I've got the stock standard bottom. Turbo as my captain. Ponga and Iomi.
Heck yeah. What a team.
Beautiful.
Joel, did you want to cover anything on this one? I did a lot
mate.
last time. I felt bad. Man, look, I've got so many of the similar players. It's going to be one of those things where we're going into it just echoing each other. But I like the Hopgood play. I really like the Hopgood play. I've been so tempted on it myself as well. So he's a big one. Our centre wings are near identical, barring Skelton. Mate, the team's good. Like, it's just good all around. I know neither of you have got Tino in there. You've both been pretty vocal about not starting with Tino. I don't think I could live with myself if I didn't do it. So, but yeah, like the front row's good. Looks like, the thing is, it just looks like everyone's at the moment, but that's not a bad thing. There's so much upside in May and Horsburgh. It's like, if you don't have them, then you're doing it wrong. I've got lots of the same second rows. I've got the same halfbacks. I've got the same center wing. Like, we're both looking as far as they go. I really like it, man. Honestly, I reckon it's good everywhere.
It's probably because we talk too bloody much.
I know. We're just like mirroring. I've got a couple of different ones here and there, a couple of little sneakies, but either way, the 85% of it's like identical. I love that.
I noticed 5 West Tigers players, which I think any other year would go, what WTF? This year, I can see value in literally every single one of those Tigers players. That's the crazy thing as we start this year. So,
and I got rid of Bird. So I actually had 6, and I got rid of Bird because I'm just I'm not completely sold on Bird. So I got rid of Bird, but potentially there was 6.
6 is a lot.
And then the other thing too is you could even there could potentially even be a 7th, and you go and get Luai.
You just get the whole Tigers team. Probably won't too bad.
No, don't have to worry about a buy for a while, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. Fill the whole team.
All righty. Jesse's time. Here we go. Moment we've been waiting for.
Not really. I've gone for the cheaper Mamazella-Smith combination at the moment. It's just, it is what it is with those two at top. I suppose I'm not really expecting anything more than 40, so I'm not going to go in there ripping it all apart. I've got Terrell May and Horsburgh starting props, and I've got Tino on my bench with Pacifica Tonga from the Dragons, just as a cheap anyone. If he doesn't play a game this year, he doesn't play a game this year. But that could be different come team list. My second row, Lucas, Preston, and Watson, with Seyfarth, White, and Gajewski on the bench. I've gone for a lot of duels kind of everywhere. I'll touch on it when I finish the lineup, but the halfbacks, Cleary and Duffy, same as you two. I have gone away from the Hines play, and I was very set on Hines, and I'm still very, very keen and tempted to go back to Hines. But for the reasons that, I told Trav the justification why I decided to drop Hines out and go to Duffy. I think that beginning of the season, there's probably a good chance that Duffy and Hines probably keep within 30 points of an average with each other. But for 500k for the spread, I'll definitely make up that difference in average. So yeah, I will definitely have Hines at some point very, very soon, if not to start. But for now, he's not in my team. Metcalf and Brimson as my backup 5'8". So he will be my main guy, most likely, and I will play both of them every week, probably going forward. I just love Brimson as a 5'8". Honestly, Brimson, every game that he's played 5'8" that I've seen so far, he's a freak. I've had him in the past. I've had drafts with him before years ago. I've won draft comps with him as a main center wing. I just have an attachment emotionally to Brimson as a player, and I think he's great when he's on. I will run the risk of him being fit, you know what I mean? But yeah, I was really keen to get that duel. I'm very happy to have him in the side. 3% ownership too. I'm all about it. Center wings, I've got Garrick, Zarko, Marzu, and Jesse Arthurs currently in my starting lineup, which could be Purdue. Don't know yet, but I am keen on Arthurs this year. For the same points that you made, Trav. Being outside Hunt, Broncos look good. He looks really good. I think he's probably due for a bit more output than he has put out in the past. Everything's kind of there for him to do a bit more, but yeah, I do like the Arthur's play to start, so that's why he's in. Purdue, Shibasaki, and Toya. I only threw Shibasaki in there because he got added in and he's quite cheap, and there's all the word that he's going to start and do his thing, but I don't have a great deal of expectation. Actually, not too bad of a record as a starting center. I think I had a look into it, and he averaged in the mid 40s. So he's definitely got money to be made. And if the wraps are on him as high as apparently they are with Madge, he should get a good run, at least enough to make some sort of coin. And again, like both the two of you, the same fullback setup with a flex, Ponga, Turbo, and Eongi. I don't think there's really much other options in the fullbacks. I'm keen on Drinkwater. The kicking would have helped. There's all this other talk, Walsh and this sort of that. I don't want to start with him. I think this is the best and safest way to start for your backline. But yeah, overall, like I've got options pretty much everywhere. Like if something doesn't happen right in the centers, if I want to downgrade or one of the boys don't hit, I'll move Lucas down and I'll get a center, a good second rower. And if Mamazelis flops and it doesn't work out too well, I can move Watson up and grab one of those cheap second rowers in there as well. I can move Brimson down into the center wing. I can put Azarko out. If I was going to change anyone, it might be him for his price. I've also pondered swapping Azarko, moving Brimson into the centers and getting Munster in the team. But I think for the starting run, Azarko is way too appealing. He starts off the year so hot. I think the last 2 years he's averaged about 80 plus within the first 10 rounds for both years running, the last two. Playing outside of Herbie, I think that's going to massively increase his output. I think the Dolphins are going to just target their right edge. It's only going to bolster him. If they get more tries, if Herbie does it, or if Azarko gets them, the points will be spread between them and he'll kick. It's just, I really like what Azarko's got on the plate at the moment, same as Trav. And yeah, I'd be really reluctant to take anyone out of this team. So I'm very set on this. I actually am really keen, and I think I will, in a way, lock this team in. Just on the flexibility of position, but yeah, it's hard not to have Hines. I'll admit it. It is tricky, but it doesn't look anywhere near as good with Hines in the team. So that's mine. They're my boys.
So, are you that high on Brimson? You're just going to start him from the start. You're that high on him.
Yeah, 100%. Why not? What's the point? Well, I'm not going to. Just get him in there. Just get him in.
I don't like the whole having these players that have the round one bye in your team. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it at all.
That's what it is. You get the bye out the way, then it's smooth sailings,
What happens if one of them gets injured in training? Like, no one Brimson, he will. Just have someone that's going to play round one and go from there. Him out.
It's all right.
You've already missed round one of points.
Exactly. But I'm not playing him anyway. So, like, I look at the rest of my team and the players that I've got selected. It's not weak. Like, I'm not really losing anything.
I'm worried about you this year. I am worried about you.
Nah, don't be worried about me, mate. Never worry about me. And then, like, that's the thing. Round two comes in. Like, this team the way that I look at it, I go, I like this lineup with the reserves. I like my captain options actually have changed. I put my VC on Ponga, captaincy on Turbo, just taking it off Cleary for this first round. doesn't matter anyway. But I look at the team that I've got at the moment, and I'm like, I'm happy to play this. I think this team will do quite well. And then next week I get to add Tino and Brimson in. Like, that's a really nice thing to do, I would say. Personally, I think that's going to just be like, holy shit, there's a lot of talent here at the moment. But again, like, that's round one. Things immediately change the second the round starts, and you go, I have done silly things with my side, which is entirely possible. But I liked what he looked. He looked good in the trials. The highlights were nice. You know, he did what he did. He got his try, and it's just, yeah, I don't see why not. To be honest with you, like, I think Brimson at his price is always appealing, and it's always one of those. Does anyone do it because of the injury risk and the uncertainty? No, not really. I don't think he's got much uncertainty with foreign out injured. I think he is the 5'8", which has always been the problem with Brimson. Is where does he play? Is he going to be in the centers? Is he the fullback? Is he in the halves? I think he's in the 5'8" now. That's his. Like, there's no other option for it. He's not going to get tossed around anywhere. So positionally, I think he's locked in. The only risk is obviously injury, which is always a lingering thing. But I said it earlier at the beginning of this pod. I'm done looking at injured players and being hesitant on them, because if they're a gun, like Turbo is a gun, he's injured all the time, reluctantly.
Like Stafford Toa.
You're not going to have him in it. Like Stafford Toa. Like Nathan Cleary.
Did you just compare Turbo to Brimson?
No, I didn't compare Turbo to Brimson quality, like output-wise, but injury history-wise, they would have to be very similar. Like, they would both miss quite a fair few games every year. But when they're on,
they're completely different players in terms of Turbo is just a must-have because of what Turbo will do. Brimson is not going to do anything like Turbo.
Yeah, but the difference is Turbo is also 400k dearer than Brimson. You know what I mean? For what Brimson can put out an average of, 70 as a 5'8", average of his career average as a 5'8" position, priced at 539, I like it for what he can do. And if he gets injured, then I'm at 539. Like, I'm not down in 200s. It's not enough. I can easily go up to a 600k player by dropping, nearly anyone. There's all the 5'8s are all at 600. I can go down to Dewey and save myself 100k and then spread that somewhere else. There's plenty of options. I'm not worried. Genuinely, I'm really not worried. If he goes bang, me and the other 3% that have him will be laughing.
I've got a question for both of you as well, because I remember we've done the team previews, we've done the position previews, and all three of us could not speak highly enough of this bloke. And I've now noticed you both don't have him now, and I just cannot believe it, even if he's been a popular pick. Ola Kawatu, I cannot believe both of you haven't got him in your team. I think you got rocks in your head, because I literally
said why I didn't have him. I
just didn't go with it, but I think he's going to have too many points. I think you just need to get
extra. I wanted the extra few K, and I just wanted a pod. I wanted someone 21%.
Yeah. I've got Watson in there specifically just to back up in case anything happens in the hookers, and I just want to be able to move things around. Smith can go down. I like Olakuatu, don't get me wrong. Bloody hell, I'd love to have him in my side. Freaking hell, I'd throw him in there right now if I had the money for it. I don't. I just don't have it. And I kind of like the spread and where the value is at the moment. I think he's going to obviously kill it in his first few games. But at the same time, I don't doubt the quality of Lucas, Preston, and what Watson can do to start with. You know what I mean? Like, I can probably match him. Lucas can definitely match Olakuatu, especially with the Knights run. Fair enough, they got the round 4 bye, but, so what? And then Preston, I'm sure Preston can do what Olakuatu can do for 60k less. Maybe not as consistently, but I don't think they're really that far apart. Genuinely, I don't think you're going to get a 15-point average swing out of either of them. So, and that's half the reason. Is just it could be an ownership thing more than anything. But yeah, very keen on these Manly players, and I've really only got the two big ones. I would say Garrick and Turbo, like most. So I'm happy to have a piece of the pie, but yeah, Olakuatu unfortunately didn't make the cut this time.
Do you have any money left?
I got $700 left.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, it was zero. It was zero. I had enough. I'll have to go back and look at the screenshot, but I know I had another one in there, and I'm pretty sure Lucas was in my centers, and I had Hosking in, and I can't remember what the combination was, but I had $0, and I was like, it's a sign. I love it. But yeah, I think I changed something up a little bit. I got Watson in instead of Hosking, and then I had to move somebody else around. But yeah, I don't like having anything in the bank. I like to go all in and just let them do
hence
their
the
thing.
Pacific Tonga move, I guess. Then I was about to
I can't do anything with that
up a little bit, but you just can't. So it's impossible.
I genuinely can't do a thing. Yeah.
That's
And I was kind of glad that Shibasaki got added because I couldn't do much else as well. because I had to. I had a cheaper. I think I had Vomaga in my second row, and that's what it was. I moved someone out to get him out and put him in the center wing, so I could end up getting Watson in the second row. But either way, I've got nothing left. There's nothing in the bank.
That's good.
But yeah, I like it. I like it like that. I can't make interest, you know.
Happy with that. All right. So, Captain, oh Captain, shall we start talking about it? And the first question is, just don't captain anyone from this weekend's game is a big warning to any new Supercoach player, isn't it?
Not
Oh,
really.
Oh, you would?
No.
Like we saw last year, there's points in Vegas, man. Like, and you've got two of the best players in the comp in Cleary and Hines. If you've got Hines in your side, that are potentially options. But I think, you know, if they're that early in the week, you can just VC them. You know, you've probably got someone who's on a bye. Maybe if you've got a Tino or a Brimson like myself, or anyone that's just not playing or not named, like maybe even McLean, but he's not playing this week. There's options. You know, I mean, you can definitely play a VC, and then you got the flex to cover him. You're going to see a lot more VCs this year, a lot more looping, I would say. Just play it safe. Just VC them this week.
Who have we got? Should we do a VC list or captains, or just blend them in? Lead it.
Deco Hines is a good VC option. Clear is a good VC option. Kaya Weeks is a good VC option against the Warriors if you've got VC and you want to take a bit of a pod play on that.
Adam Fanua-Blake, would you go left field?
I would say Adam Fanua-Blake's probably my favourite in this. I don't think Nicho Hines is a good VC option. I'm going to say it right now. He sucks against the Panthers. He probably hit 45 if he's lucky. It's just one of those things that he does every time.
He's got to score 100 now. He's going to just be
I just don't think Vegas is going to allow the Penrith defensive machine. So,
plus they haven't really played it all together yet. So, but I don't think they need to. It's Penrith. But yeah, no, there is points in Vegas, man. There is definitely. So, you're going very left field. I think if you're going to VC anyone, it's just Cleary and don't overthink it.
Yeah, Cleary's on my VC right now.
Captains?
I'm not captaining anyone from Vegas this week.
Yeah, no Vegas captains. I've taken the VC off Cleary for no real reason. I've got Ponga and Turbo, and I'm probably going to VC and see both of those almost every single week. But yeah, I've got the VC on Ponga and the captaincy on Turbo.
And Ponga plays next Friday and Turbo plays Saturday night. So that works out.
Yep, exactly. So it's a good looking little thing. Yeah.
Alrighty.
That's it for me.
Should we go do some questions then? Done with that?
Yeah, of course. Let's go.
Moving on. Perfect. So again, shout out to TC Coolers. Now, because of the live show, and everyone will know from the live show, we are giving one away each week on the live show for comments that come through. Then we're doing one for the Supercoach one. Obviously, it's the white or the green one for tonight. You are going in the chance to win the green one, the Supercoach one that we do via your questions through the Instagram post or the Facebook post on a weekly basis. So we obviously missed last week because we had a huge episode, so we couldn't fit questions in. So there's been a few come through, which is great to see. First one, North Queensland Cowboys.news. Was into us a little bit when we were in at Todd Payton. So shout out to you, brother. Thanks for the questions. Thoughts on Scott Drinkwater? Once Duffy is gone, he'll most likely be goal kicking and he's a bit of a pod. Oh, I got news for you, mate. I don't anticipate Duffy leaving anytime soon, to be honest with you. I actually think he's ahead of Clifford now, and that's that. I think he can really grab this now with two hands. The raps of him in last year's games, and this guy will obviously know almost more than us, but everyone is so high on Duffy up there that I think if he can start well and complement Drinky and Din, he won't be losing that jersey anytime soon.
Agreed.
Yeah. I just think it's one of those things with Clifford. It's like, I don't think Clifford's done enough to warrant automatically kicking Duffy out. If Duffy, he's obviously killed it in the Q Cup. And if he puts his foot down now and he makes it his, then what's the reason to change it? Like if the Cowboys perform and Duffy kills it, there is no way he's leaving that team.
I mean, Clifford's not a rookie.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it's like
had plenty of chances.
What is it? 7 years he's been in the system. So, or in the NRL. So, like, he's had plenty of chances. So, yeah.
Pretty much. And on Drinky, he's on my radar as soon as one of either Turbo or Ponga go down for me. I think he's my next man up. It's just
Yeah.
I'm hoping both of them can get through this early period because I don't like the Cowboys draw. I think it's one of the harder ones. So I'm hoping they can get through, even though I think Drinky is fairly fixture proof. So I don't mind that. But yeah, definitely Drinky. I want to time that run. And it's more so about, it's just not goal kicking at the moment has scared me off him. It's just that argument. And we had it, not argument, we had the discussion on Sunday, me and Jesse, and we put the reel up as well, just about having Iongi there and how much money it frees up, what you can do with the teams and what you've seen from our teams now. We wouldn't be able to have 3 or 4 of those players in if we went for the Drinky option as our flex. So that would have been, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. I love Drinkwater. I had him almost all of last year and even the year before that too. I'm not too it is a shame that he doesn't have the goal kicking currently if whatever happens with Duffy's side, but he's genuinely like next man up for me. I wish I could afford him in a flex or anything like that. I just like the upside of the 2 that I've got. So
Yep. The _ Cashos. I've got 2 questions here for us. First one, thinking of starting Metcalf / Brimson at 5'8". What's your thoughts, as I'm not sold on Dearden and hate Munster's round 2 bye? Well, Jesse, what do you think of that one?
just rewind a few minutes. And, then you got your answer. I love it. I've done it myself. I don't think I'll change it. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all about it. A lot of upside. Just enjoy yourself. You know what I mean? Have some fun with it.
He's not sold on your boy, Trav. He's not sold on Dearden.
Yeah, I had to I got rid of him too, but I didn't get rid of him in any way because I got rid of him because I need money and I wanted the money to be put in and shore up other spots. I really liked it. And even with the tough run, the thing is, right, the Cowboys have a tough run, but they also, it can be nullified a bit because you have to go to the Townsville as well. So even with that, they've got Manly, right? Anything can kind of happen. I like Manly and they're at 4 Pines, but it's round 1. Anything can literally happen. They got the Sharks up there after the Sharks are coming back from Vegas. They've got the Broncos at Suncorp, and Cowboys love playing the Broncos at Suncorp. And then you've got the Cowboys play the Raiders at home, and then they got Panthers at Combank. And then the draw kind of then they got the Rabbitohs, then they got the bye, then they got the Titans, the Warriors. So whilst it's tough, there's also games at home, and that sort of nullifies a bit of it. So don't be too stressed. And Dearden is one of those guys. I just think he's just ready, and he'll have written all of these 5 games, first 5 games on his calendar at home. He'd be sitting there on the fridge ready to go and go, this is my team. This is how I can shine my light. I'm ready to go. Here we go. So,
Have a look at my Supercoach team on the fridge.
Were you worried about him on the weekend, Trav? Because me and Jesse, did have a bit of a chat about this on Sunday. He was extremely busy, and the score didn't represent anything like how he played actually on the field.
He always is busy. It was a trial game. He was playing the Storm in a country venue of Melbourne. Well, not country, but down in Melbourne. I'm not too stressed.
Yeah, it's fair points. But Dearden is a bit like that too. He's a busy boy. He just sort of gets amongst it all, but it doesn't. Those busy boy effort plays don't make you points. But I think he will genuinely get himself good points. I just like him next to Duffy. I just think it's a bloody good little pair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should work really well.
And just on his Munster point, just quickly, I reckon he might be one of the most hotly brought in players from round 3. I think everyone's waiting off from the round 2 bye, and then there'll be a big
when he's ready to play when he's played 2 games.
I've already got it lined up if the Ozarko thing does not work. Genuinely, it's the same. I can move Brimson down. If you're going to have Brimson as starting 5'8", and you've got someone in your center wing that you can swap him down to as a little backup if you want Munster when he starts popping off, because it's going to happen eventually. Round 3, round 4 is a great look for it. That's kind of what I'm expecting to do if, doesn't go as planned. So
they play the Eels round 1. So, potential for a solid score, but also it's round 1, so anything could happen. Then he's got the bye. Then he actually plays Penrith in round 3. So I'm just not sure I'd be bringing him in for Penrith. So round 4 would be my go, and that's against the Dragons. And then he plays Manly, then he plays the Warriors, then he plays the Dolphins, then he plays the Rabbitohs, then he plays the Raiders, then the Tigers. The run from round 4 on is where you need to sort of get him. I think just chill.
Yeah, definitely. It's not even just him. I think from round 4, get Storm players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it a plan. Get Storm guys. Get Katoa in. Get Munster in. Get them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
They're
round
gonna
2
go
bye
nuts.
is just a pain. Like that was another thing I forgot to mention in my team is that I've avoided people with the first 5 round buys. So that was kind of the makeup of how I've done it.
How many nights you got?
Jesse hasn't.
Only Ponga in his round 5.
I'll take them all in round 1. Let round 1 just burn itself to the ground. It's useless anyway. Give me all of them. I'll take a whole team of Titans. If I can fit Dave Fafita in there and Keeney, I will. I'll take them all, and then I won't have to worry about it at all.
Oh, goodness me. His second question. So, with the uncertainty surrounding the improved Tigers, would Gilbert be a better buyer than Seyfarth? I don't have either in my team. They haven't really been on my radar at all, but I know you both have Seyfarth.
That's a hell of a good question.
I'd probably have both of these on par.
I really like that question. I think it's
it's
a very good one. Good little way up. Man, flip a coin. Hey, Gilbert's a gun, but he's been away for a while. Seyfarth's got a good, very, very short sample size of good games at second row. What do you reckon, Trav? That's a hell of a question.
I mean, for me, it's a 30K difference. Gilbert's 460 odd, Seyfarth's 430. The 30K difference kind of like talks numbers to me and makes it more appealing. With the way that literally I'm trying to scrape $100 here and there to try and make changes and do things.
700, so
without
a lot.
Yeah, without the TLT next Tuesday, I'm scraping dollars here and there to try and get players I want. So that 30K speaks volumes. The other thing too is Seyfarth's got a recent history. Gilbert has no recent history. So I think just chill on that. The other side of it too is as much as and as high as I am on the Dolphins, there is a lot of changes that are happening and some things that are moving around. Like they've just re-signed Platt, but is talking about putting him on the edge, which changes a few things. Bostock injury is Farnworth moving to Isako's side. What are they doing in their halves? Like there's just a few too many questions for me to actually sit there and go for Gilbert. So for me, it's Seyfarth.
Yeah. I would go Seyfarth as well. Obviously, the price is a big thing. Sometimes it's near impossible to find 30K. And yeah, exactly right. It's recent, you know what I mean? But like Gilbert does look good. Sorry, and yeah, it's a very you go on real fine line with that one. There's I don't think there's as much in it really, but I think for the price difference and the current, the hype on the Tigers too. Like you got to look at that at the same time. They're on the up. Dolphins are a little bit, who knows? Yeah, I go Seyfarth. He's in my team. He's on my side anyway. So
I'll go different. I'll say Gilbert. I'll say actually the news recently of Max Plath puts me back a bit more into the Gilbert camp because I think it means he'll probably play big minutes and be around the middle, and I think he'll just naturally work his backside off. So I'm actually starting to like that a little bit more. But yeah, I think they're both pretty muchly because Seyfarth will play 80 minutes on the edge in my opinion as well. So see what happens there. And I think it'll be Seyfarth to be, or actually it doesn't really matter because if you're paired with Galvin or Luai, it doesn't really matter. They're both stars in their own right. So Facebook questions. First, legend member Steve Lumley. TLT and early mail is making decisions as clear as mud. Do you think swapping Tino to Hosking is a positive move? Oh,
Tino to Hosking.
I personally do. Yeah, I like that.
Depends on who else you have. Like if your front row is May and Horsburgh, then realistically, you probably don't need Tino. But again, like I would take the duel. I would take the pedigree of Tino and the longevity of Tino. Obviously, come back from an ACL. Yeah, I would just go Tino personally, and I have. So, yeah. But neither of you two have, so I'd like to hear your sort of point around it. I know you're a big Hosking guy too, Joel. So Trav, I don't know if you're really particularly keen on either. So go for the neutral opinion.
No, I'm not keen on either of them just yet. I mean, I am keen. Like I think they're both good players. I mean, I spoke to you about what Hosking did and what he can do at the start of the podcast. When we were doing the team list. So I think there's potential there. But as I said, I'm just going to wait and see what he does. And in terms of Tino, I've spoken in depth around what I think of Tino. I rate him. I'm really keen to get him in my team. I'm happy to get him in my team when he's 100K more expensive. Like if he goes and gets that value and does that. But at this point in time, I just want to wait and see whether minutes are there, whether the production's going to be there, whether he's fully recovered from his injury. All of that sort of stuff for me just screams just wait.
Yep. No, that's fair. I just said I don't like having these round one players in my team, so I just have not touched a Titans player. So I think put Hosking in. He's going to play 80 minutes, it looks like, on the weekend. So just ride that wave and then just see what happens down the track with. I agree with Trav. I'm just going to wait and see with Tino. And it makes me a bit nervous because I did like how he played on the weekend. I think he's vital to this Titans team, but I just don't want to have him in my team if he's not playing. It's as simple as that. Lloyd Clark, another subscriber for us. Thank you for your support. Do we think Balmunga is still worth putting on the bench as a second row 5/6, or wait for others? We've spoken about this one already. I think we've all sort of said we're happy to wait for others. I think Trav still has him in his team though, so he's probably just going to sit with him. He's happy to do that. So I think we're both on both sides of the fence. And we're happy with either way. So good luck, Lloyd. You choose, brother.
Yeah, I think you can get him. Like, it's not gonna be a bad thing. He's named on the bench. He beast his way to a 30-point game or something like that if he gets low minutes. But you just get him in 2 weeks' time if you don't have him now. So it's not a big deal. Cheap enough.
Yeah. You happy with that answer, Trav?
Yep, that's fine. I've picked him. I'm happy to just sit there and plot and not have to scramble next week depending on what happens and doesn't happen. And if I have to make a change, I'll make a change.
Yeah,
the only
next week, nothing plays out.
Enough for 198K, bloke. Thank you. Give me an extra 30K. Thank you. James Beckman, another legend. So I really appreciate your support. Seeing Munster on his podcast not care about the trials, do you think every club has that mentality, or just clubs that know they'll be there in September? Well, first of all, James, how dare you cheat on us and listen to another podcast? Like, how dare you? No, they got a quality podcast over there, those boys. So they're a good laugh. I think that's why
he's a Storm fan too, so he's listening to that based on his Storm.
Don't back up your Storm brothers and sisters. Come off it.
No.
What about? I think I've mentioned this so many times. I hate trials. I think most clubs hate them. Ricky Short obviously hates him. He literally said it in the interview when they were trying to pump that game up last 2 weeks ago. Oh, yeah, I'll just play my players for about 15, 20 minutes and bring him off. And, yep, he did. Didn't give a crap whatsoever. So I don't think many clubs anymore care. I think we've seen by the fact that most clubs have rested most of their really good players as well. They haven't even played. We've talked about Penrith, who didn't even play a trial. They don't care. Para rested a couple of, like Moses, could have probably played the last one. It would have been a little bit of a risk, but if it was round one, he probably would have played. So, yeah, I don't think clubs really care about it anymore.
No, not the good ones.
And like have a look at Luai. Luai didn't play for the Tigers, and he's their superstar. Like, and is he captain? So like, I think the trials are a waste of time, and there needs to be something made to take in. There's probably a few players and bits and pieces that are okay, let's give this guy a go. I'm pretty keen on this to see this, but that's about the only thing. And I think they're more a minority than majority.
Yeah, just get the ones out there that don't get a chance to play a lot. Get them to stretch their legs. You know what I mean?
And they get to play on TV.
Yeah, maybe win $100,000.
Yeah, I know. Work something else out NRL, because I think most people are starting to get really bored with this whole preseason trial mess. Something needs to happen. Mark Colson, once again, another legend. They're all firing in some questions this week. Absolutely love it. How much should I pay attention to Max Plath? I have Hopgood, but all the talk about Plath is making me think about switching one out for the other. Oh.
Who do you think? Who's he swapping?
Hopgood.
He wants to swap Hopgood out to Plath?
Keep Hopgood.
Keep Hopgood, yeah. I love Max Plath. And I think Max Plath is too. And also he's just signed a 4-year deal. He's extended. They're in love with him. He won the best player of the year last year for him. So, I'm really, really keen on that. I'm happy. I've got Plath in a draft league that I picked really early as my starting hooker. Very keen on that. But I just, I would, if you just pit Hopgood and Plath together like that, I'm going to keep Hopgood.
Yeah, no, I'm going to do the same. I just like what Hopgood can do. They're probably, honestly, it could be thereabouts the exact same. And then, Plath has a duel, which is
Plus
nice.
you got dual hooker, yeah.
Yeah, it's valuable. Like, there's definitely value in Plath. If he does his 80-minute on an edge, if that's the plan for him, I'll be interested to see how he goes. But I kind of feel like I know what Hopgood's going to do. You know what I mean? Again, that's different. What does Riles do with Hopgood? A little bit of questions around both, but yeah, God, it's good looking having Hopgood in your side, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd go Hopgood.
Scary.
I think that was the question I wanted to quickly raise and have a quick chat about. Is Max Plath on the edge? Are you slightly worried at all from a Supercoach point of view? It's the unknown, so I'm not too sure. Like a big thing about Plath for mine has been he's just a goer. He'll just go in and get down and dirty, and that's where he gets his points. But he won't be able to do it on the edge. He'll be stuck on an edge, and I don't know. I'm a little bit on Max
I'm a little bit the same. He gets so busy in the middle because he can. It's just depending on what the Dolphins want to do. But it depends on what side he's on. If he's on the side with bloody Herbie and Azarko, they're getting a lot of ball out there. So
I think he is.
Oh, that's scary.
The word is he is. So it goes. That's the male is that he's on that side.
Tempting then. Could be good. But yeah, I'd still go Hopgood, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, Hopgood is a known.
Yeah.
Plath is still a bit of an unknown. And as good as he was last year. Yeah. And as good as he was last year, I'm happy just to sort of watch Plath a little bit. And if I have to get him in, I'll get him in.
Yeah, you'll be the first to get Plath in if it happens.
Psycho Plath, baby.
Big time.
That love affair has not calmed down one bit. We can guarantee everyone of that. Mitch Barlesti. Should the two Canberra Raiders players be disciplined by sending them on a plane home? They are not just representing the Raiders. They are representing our game and country. It's not good enough for just a slap on the wrist.
Is this a parody question? Is this a joke?
I don't know.
Is this a legitimate question?
This is a legitimate question, and he's obviously not happy. I don't know if he's a Warrior supporter and wants them to be a bit weaker for Vegas round, but I think this has been a complete storm in a teacup. I think there was nothing happening on that day, and that's why it blew up the way it did. The news articles got all over it. It was initially feared that it was proper bats, which would have been a completely different story, but it was inflatable bats. Bit of fun. Mates having a go, having a bit of a wrestle that turned into something a little bit more serious, but they're all moved on. I think the Raiders, credit to them, they handled it perfectly. They had them straight on the front foot. They did do that. They did do that press conference, and the players just said, look, we own it. We made a mistake. We stuffed up. I don't think there's anything more to it. It didn't hurt anyone else. The public, no one else in the public seen it. It was done in an elevator. It's nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing in it. They're just having some fun. They're in Vegas. They didn't hurt anyone. They were just messing about. Okay, fair enough. There was an accident, no dramas. But there's a lot worse things happening in the NRL with other clubs that aren't fronting in front of a press conference that don't get any attention. So, God damn, this is just. I don't want to, man. I really don't. But it's right there. It's so clear and obvious. I don't want to go that direction. But these two dudes are it's harmless. It's genuinely harmless, and it's just gone. For whatever reason.
You've got me. You've hit me and you fired me up. Let's quickly. I just need to quickly say it because Brisbane Broncos. Watch how the Raiders just handled that, and that is nothing like what obviously has happened with the Ezra Mann situation we're talking about. But that is how you handle something, and the Raiders just put them to shame. I feel like, and that was so well handled by the club. The Broncos have just sat back this whole time. Nothing has happened. Eased Ezra back into training and stuff like that. It's just been so, and just something like this happening, and the blow, even this message, this blow up here, that's nothing. Like as you said, nothing compared to what we've recently seen in the game, and that's how it's just. It gets me. It actually got me on the other day when it happened, and I was thinking, plastic rubber like baseball bat, blow up baseball bats, and we've just had what happened with Mam, and he's allowed back in the game this year. He's back in the game round 10. Sometimes we need to just think about how we are as a game and how things measure up because nothing in it. Nothing.
No consistency with this sport, man. There really
Trav,
isn't. But...
did you see anything while you were over in Vegas like this?
No, I didn't see it, man. Didn't see it.
Nah.
No, I didn't see it. Didn't see anything. It didn't even make the news over there either, by the way.
No, they don't
I
care.
bet, man. There's enough. It's Vegas. Like, there's some things happening in Vegas. Surely they don't care about.
There was way more things. I saw way more than that.
Surprised you could see anything with those glasses.
Yeah. Hey, they're perfect. They're polarized as well, so perfect for the sun. Sat out there on my balcony. We're all good.
What's your got an opinion on this?
No, yeah, that's literally what you said is a storm in a teacup. There are players playing this first round or would have played this first round that have had way worse than anything that's happened between these two. Yeah, that's about all. Look, I don't mind the question. I sort of see what he's saying as a fan, and he's trying to put a bit of like his foot down and say, we've just got to be better. Like we really do. The sport's just got to be better and the players have just got to be better. I kind of see what he's doing and he's kind of had enough. Here's a fight. We're in Vegas, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, not this situation.
They'll probably get back and get a fine. They might get a fine when they get back, and that's about it. So not a great look, but it's just nothing compared to some of the stuff we have seen in the last 6 or so months. There was another little question here from Jason Murphy and another legend member. Appreciate that. Another one around Max Plath, but he's more so going at it with the impact that it has on the Dolphins bench, perhaps. And he's a bit worried about that. Max Plath being impacted by the bench. So obviously we're talking probably Fine Fuiaki. So points per minute sort of thing he's thinking of. Is that another thing we just spoke about? Perhaps a slight concern about Plath. Fine Fuiaki for mine needs to be playing at least 40, 50 minutes if he's coming off the bench. He's a decent enough player for mine when I look at this Dolphins pack. So I don't know what they're going to do there because Lemuelu has shown in the past he's a pretty good, consistent sort of back row as well. So
yeah,
maybe it's Gilbert that cops some minutes. I don't know. I have no idea with this Dolphins team.
I think Gilbert's the beneficiary of Plath going to the edge. I think that's why they've done it, is to play Gilbert where he is. Fuiaki needs 80 minutes to be relevant, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't think anything less than 80, I don't want him, to be honest. I think if it's a 60-minute role, he averages 30, 35. If it's 80, he might get a 45, 50 on average, and then he's actually got some upside. But outside of that, not keen. But if Plath plays 60, maybe he rotates through the middle, gives the guys a break through there as well, and then that's when Fuiaki can come on, and then they do this little shuffle, and they all kind of just rotate around. But again, it'd be good to see and get a bit more of an idea around their forward pack before we really commit too much to them. I like the wings, I like the attacking upside of them, but the forward's a little bit questionable. So,
yep, no, that's fair. Last one, Brad Smith. When are the League of Inches blow-up baseball bats going to become available? Well, we don't have anything yet. It's obviously a touchy subject still, so we'll just let the crowd ease up, the fans ease. But on a serious note, if there is any sort of merch you are keen on, please message the page. We will look at anything. We are looking at caps still. It's just taking me a bit of a while to lock in a design that I do like. I want to make sure we get them right and it's a good mix between an appropriate price and a really good style and a good fit. So it's just about balancing that. I think a lot of people underestimate, and I spoke about it before, the cost of caps now. They're quite expensive just to literally get made. So it's just a balancing act there. I'm just trying to get the right one set that you guys can actually buy and wear and wear out and be proud of it as well. So yeah, that's it. I think that's what we got, boys. TLT's done. Our big reveals are done. Check out the Legends group in the next 24 to 48 hours because I'm sure there'll be some activity from all three of us regarding some late changes we have made and things like that. But that's about it. I anticipate Jesse will have news on a Nico Hines trade-in. Once again, he'll have itchy feet probably about 12:05 p.m. for him or a.m. for him tonight, and he'll have a Nico Hines post ready to go, Legends.
Probably will. Yeah, keep an eye out for that one, boys. Boys and girls, we're going.
And Trav will get on the Plathinator one more time. He's keen now. All this Plath talk late on has got him thinking about him.
That was a lot of Plath talk.
There was. And well deserved too, rightfully so.
he's still.
I love that.
It'll take him to victory in his draft. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it. bring on Sunday. Don't forget, we'll have the Sunday show after that at night time. So it's a huge day of football all up. Can't wait. Be around the page all day. We'll have a lot of content and things like that around all the games, talking points, things like that. Get involved. More the merrier. And we'll see you all on Sunday. Enjoy and stay safe.